regular debate class should actually run like a workshop. I think the material is very straightforward, and I think even for a kid who is coming in brand new to debate, it's really like a nice ease into what we expect from them. All right, so if we're looking at does everybody have the program? The debate class actually has two different parts, right? The first part, if you've seen the program guide, is introducing a leader, a world leader. And then divide up this term into three different categories. The first category is political. So the first person they chose was Michelle Reed, who is a very interesting character. In my doctoral work, I've done some studies on school privatization, school funding, and the new charter school movement, and small school movement, and she's definitely one of the more controversial figures, right? Julian Assange, who definitely been in the news recently, and is another lightning rod character. So if you go down the list, there are definitely some interesting characters. It's divided into three different themes: political, environmental, and entrepreneurial. Okay? So the first part of the class is in essence introducing those people and their leadership skills. Okay? So yes, this is a debate workshop, but the idea is to introduce students to leadership skills. The second part of the class is then having them research a topic, and then actually doing a debate at the end of the class. Okay? So there's really three different parts to the class. So when it comes to actually looking at this class, I feel like there's a lot of expectations if you look at the objectives. The first objective is to expose to leaders in different fields and approach through primary and secondary sources. Okay, makes sense. To increase speaking and critical thinking abilities through in-class debates. This work is tricky. A lot of these students have never actually debated before. Okay, a lot of these students are used to getting up and speaking in front of kids and other people, but during like CTP, where they have other people with them, right? So the problem that you might run into is just having kids that are too shy to be in class, okay? This is where, as an instructor, you can really, really, really impact the students. During the first few classes, you might have to prod them into actually getting up and being able to speak in front of people. So if your rooms are equipped, how many of you guys have classrooms that have projectors? You all should have some sort of multimedia because that's an important component in the actual lesson. This is what I would do when you're preparing this weekend. See if you can find quick clips of really good public speakers, okay? My recommendation, I'm a big fan of Mad Men. If anyone's ever seen that show. But there's a character on Mad Men named Don Draper. He's an advertising executive extraordinaire, among other things. If you want a good, like, 2-minute clip of how to deliver a pitch, just type in Don Draper into YouTube, and they pull up a ton of YouTube videos on Don Draper. Another option, and these, like, again, it's a TV show, so, like, you know, you have to obviously, like, preview it, make sure it's, like, appropriate, but, like, those types of videos, anything that you've seen is going to help catapult the class to getting the kids being actually excited and actually trying to follow a style of talking. Because that's the biggest fundamental problem in this class, is getting the kids to be able to get up and talk, right? So I use YouTube clips, right, in the beginning of the classes, just depending on like what the topic is for the day. Some of the people that you'll see that are listed actually are on YouTube. You can just play clips of them, in addition to what the program material provides each week. The third objective is identify key leadership characteristics through in-depth analysis of visionary leaders. The biggest problem with this objective is that you'll notice the leadership qualities are oftentimes separate from what the debate topics are. So you have this discussion about Bill Clinton, okay, and it'll be, you know, the first half an hour before I come into class, going over articles about Bill Clinton, you see a short video clip of Bill Clinton, and then the debate topic is about something else. So the leadership quality for whatever it is for Bill Clinton, slip talking or talking between the lines, whatever it is is not going to necessarily be connected to what the debate topic is. So the kids are thinking like, well, why didn't we just learn about that person? There's no connection, right? So as an instructor and as someone who obviously your locations trust to be teaching a high-level class like this, use your discretion about how much emphasis you put on the leadership quality per class, right? It's all value added, right? It's okay to teach kids about being a great leader and whatever the skills are for those particular people. But at the end of the day, if you can't connect it to the debate is the most important part, right? So feel free to be judicious in how much time you spend in each leadership characteristic. Okay? Any questions about the objectives? To simplify it, what I would say you should be looking at your students for are two things. Again, if you taught debate, this is nothing new, right? When I tell them how I'm going to assess them, I talk about two things: style and substance, right? Style and substance. Style, how you present; substance, what you present, right? The idea is we want to encourage critical thinking. Substance is really, really important for this level, right? With the upper level kids, 200 level kids that some of you might be teaching if you teach this next term, I really focus on style. They know Don Kipper really, really well. I also use TED Talks, so I'll take clips of the TED Talks and show them dynamic speakers. They know Martin Luther King very well. I pulled a ton of people to get them to get out of their shells and show style. For this class, you might have kids that have it naturally, and you might have kids that just don't have it. So I would say focus on substance, right? How to construct arguments, and really rely on the program material for it. But that basically is the objective, right? Just to make sure the kids improve their style and their substance over the course of the term. All right? Just keep it simple. When it comes to the actual class, let's turn to the class structure, which is on the 4th page. Has anybody had a chance to review like the day 1 material yet? Anybody? Okay. You have? All right. What I like about this class is that the skills that are presented for each class are really, really like clearly defined and they're well researched. Like PMT did a good job in putting these different skills together. So there's each week or each class, there's one skill or one role you have to focus on for the debate. So if you look at the syllabus, it almost looks like there's only one debate and it's week 9. Like if there's like a build-up and there's like a final competition in week 9. That's not how the class is. You should debate every class. All right. Kids might not know structure, they might not know how to get up and speak, but that's okay. All right. Start out small, and like for day 1, there's a certain class structure that we use for day 1. But like what I did with this class was present what we're going to do, and then I just got them to talk. Why are you taking this class? What's the point of taking this class? Had them go around, get them talking a little bit, and then we actually got involved into a debate. And I use that as a diagnostic to see who was strong, who was weak, and who had experience debating before and who didn't. And that helped me help them structure the different skills each week that we went over, kind of focus on certain things, and then other things I really didn't focus on because the kids were new. Right? So the first class, you really just want to like go over an overview of what the class is going to be about. More importantly, you want to go over the different roles in the debate, like what you're expected to do in the debate and how to do it. And you just want to keep it very, very simple for them. I'm going to go over the roles in a little while, and then like in the second hour, you guys are actually going to divide up in debate as you conduct the debate. So the way that the class goes, obviously the first 5 minutes, homework check, attendance, and then the homework review, which is a little bit newer. This wasn't in the class when I taught it. Basically, what they want you to do is have them review the homework. Now you'll see the homework packets are really thick, right? These kids are coming in 3 days a week, or twice a week. So there's a good chance the kids might not have done all the homework reading, all right? You can also take this time to have them peruse the reading, because they have to have some context when they're actually going into the debate. The homework is a primer for the actual debate topic and the leader topic. If you find that the kids are just not doing the readings at all, okay, what you want to do is not for your berate them and browbeat them. You don't want to scream at them, or you don't want them thinking that this is like a horrible class. Just shift the emphasis from the homework onto the actual articles for the day. And that's where your preparation is going to come into play, because you're going to have to be a fill-in sometimes, right? You really need to be up on the information. I've had classes where like half the class didn't show up, and I had to debate, right? Or I had to jump in to like help out a student in a speech. You should be prepared, right? And that's where you knowing the homework information is going to help them. I'm going to warn you, like, the packets are pretty, like, they're serious articles, so there's a good chance that by like week 3, the kids might be like dragging a little bit. So in that sense, you just going to kind of push them up to make sure they do it. In-class reading and discussion. This is where you go through the articles. Now, what you're going to find, they give like 50 minutes for the articles. Some of these articles are really, really long, they're really, really dense, and they're above what the students' levels probably are. So when you go through those articles on your own, what I would recommend is just pull out like certain information that you think would be useful and have them focus on those pages. Don't necessarily worry about covering every single article in class, because you're going to find that 50 minutes is not enough. Right, so what you want to do is just make sure that you cover the key information that they'll be able to use in the actual debate. Right? And you'll find that there's a lot of extra stuff in there. It's all good stuff. They're all reliable sources, but it could get them bogged down in just simple vocab and simple comprehension, where you want them to focus on big ideas, because they have to take that research and incorporate it into their actual arguments for the debate. In the second hour, there's a specific skill lesson that the kids have to do, and again, it just focuses on different roles for each debate. So think about it as just going more in depth on the role of the prime minister, or going more in depth in how to construct an argument. But that's something that they should be doing every class anyway. Okay? So it's just like a window into how to do it better. In that second hour, they're giving 40 minutes for the debate skill lesson, and then 25 for debate prep, and then another 25 for debate prep. I find that 40 minutes for debate prep is about right for the master's students. For these students, you might want to give them more time, all right? Because the better the preparation and the better the students are at organizing their arguments, the better that the debate's actually going to be. And the third hour is the end of preparation and then the beginning of the actual debate itself. And I think it's about, it says 40 minutes, but I think it's safe to give it like 50 minutes. Because you have to go through the actual debate, and then you want to give the students feedback on how they performed. I don't pick winners and losers. I just, especially with new students, I don't want them hating me. They lose 3 debates in a row, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't debate, this guy's an idiot, like, why am I in this class, what's wrong? Right? I would say be careful with that at the beginning, but then like when you get to know the kids, you get real familiar with them after 1 week, then you might want to throw in like, okay, we've done this for a week, you guys are getting better, now we'll actually have a winner and a not winner, the exact loser. At the end of the class. Again, the idea is like when you're judging the debate, you're more of a coach. Right? You're more of a coach, and I give the kids individualized feedback. Okay, this is what you did well, this is what you might want to improve on for the next debate. What I think is great about this class is that you'll see kids from the first class who get up and mumble, right? And all you have to do is push them a little bit and encourage them a little bit. By the debate competition at the end, they're like not only participating, but like they are into it. And that all comes from you. You guys know that. Like if you're enthusiastic about it at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? You taught all night, right? If you can be enthusiastic about it, they will take to it, and they will love it. At our location, for the first time, we did like an inter-branch competition. So the other debate workshop teacher and I were friends. First we got a little competitive, and I started, let's put dinner. I was like, all right, we'll do dinner, whoever's class wins, right? So he was like, okay, well, what kind of dinner do you want? I was like, there's any steak, all you can eat. One of avocados, like, you're gonna pay. So we got our teams like really, really prepared. And we videotaped it, and it literally looked like something out of British Parliament. Like we had a gallery area where there was like extra students who weren't debating, and the BM came in, and it was like, I taught the kids how to like, when you like a point, you tap your desk and go, here. Right? And also if you don't like a point, the British, they yell, shame, sir. So I told my kid, stupidly, I was like, all right, whenever the other team says something, If you don't like it, you don't have to tap. You can't. If there's something bad, you can say shamed. What does shame mean? I'm like, well, it's just something that you think is not honorable. And they're like, oh, okay. Not thinking they're going to do it. So I'm back there judging, and all of a sudden, the second the other team gets up, half of it, shame! And I was like, no! And then the other team picked up on it, and it was raucous. But the BM loved it. And the kids were having a ball. I was mortified. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Yeah. But it ended up working out. So it was a lot of fun. And if you guys have more than one class, that's also a good incentive to give the kids. All right, like at the end of the term, we're going to have an inter-branch debate, or inter-location debate. And we're going to videotape it. We're going to show it to your parents. So you guys really got to prepare. Also, I think this term, because there is a debate competition for the master's classes this Sunday, there might be another one at the end of the term that students from these classes might be able to participate. So that's another incentive for the kids. I don't know if that's finalized yet. But again, it's just something to motivate them. All right.
So who wants that?
Me, of course. And then he went away for the summer. I'm so mad at him. He's like bouncing around America. But I forgot about that. Any questions? I hope I didn't go through that too fast. I mean, I would love to read the program guide to you. I love when I go to workshops and someone reads a program guide to me. Thanks. What I want to do is go over the roles for the debate. Do you guys know how many students you have? 7? Okay. All right. Do you guys have your intensive schedules?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just got mine. So you have 7, you mean?
I think I got 5.
Okay. This is the thing about the numbers. I think in order to really run an effective debate, you gotta have at least 4. You gotta have at least 4. And that's 4 with the student speaking twice. At least one student speaking twice. If you have less than 4, then there's a serious problem. 5 is a tough one too, because if you do 2-on-2, you have to have one student be a judge, or have one student be a gallery person, an extra person. That gets tricky. Also, if you have like 12. Did you have 12?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's where it gets tricky. So I'll show you 2 different ways to kind of organize the debate. For you guys, I think the kids probably like this if you have 12. You can actually have the kids who are not debating judge and make them make the decision to judge the round, and they have to take notes and float the whole round out. And then you're just kind of floating. You may be the deciding vote if there's a tie. But yeah, having too many or too few is definitely a problem. And uneven numbers is a problem. But you just got to be creative. So, those of you not familiar with the debate structure, debate basically starts with a resolution. And you guys are going to have a resolution to debate in the second hour. But I tried to make it as fun as possible. Hopefully I succeeded, we'll see. It has to do with teachers, so hopefully it'll touch home for some people. There's a resolution, and then you have one side that is for the resolution, that debates in favor of the resolution, one side that debates against it. So the Gov team or the pro team is pro-resolution, the op team, or the con side is against the resolution. The first speaker for the government is the Prime Minister, PM, just like British style. This is probably the most important speaker in the round. And by the way, all this information is available on the FTP, okay? But just to explain it quickly, the Prime Minister gets up and they define the terms in the resolution, because the terms are broad, and the Prime Minister's job is to say, this word means this in the context of this debate. They set up the framework for the debate. So like in our debate competition, like I'm judging on Sunday, but also I'm coaching our team. So like my strongest Masters 200 level debater, she's the Prime Minister. And the other strongest debater, she's the leader of the opposition from the other side. right? So you want your strongest, clearest speaker to be that person. They basically set up the framework of what the rest of the debate's going to be about. If this person's really bad, and people, you've debated before, have you debated around where the prime minister is just like horrible?
Yeah.
What happens to the rest of the debate?
No one knows what they're talking
Oh,
about.
it becomes a mess. These are like, in college, right? Just a complete mess. So you want to coach the kids to literally like take this speech and just make it as simple as possible and as clear as possible, because they're going to set up all the points. Okay. So the PM's job again, define the terms, and then set the framework of the case, which is basically the government's argument. The PM should shoot for, I think, 3 to 4 arguments. All right, 3 to 4 arguments. Anything above that, you're getting into a little different territory. Okay? Some of the kids can pull it off, but it makes it really, really difficult. So after the PM gets up and speaks, and the leader of the opposition speaks. The leader of the opposition is basically setting up refutations for the Prime Minister's 3 to 4 points, and then they're presenting any points that they want to use for their own side to argue their case. Okay? Usually, I would say you can shoot for 2 to 3. Now, just as an aside, if anybody is judging on Sunday or coaching on Sunday, the style that they're using on Sunday is a little bit different from the department. You debated in college?
No.
In high school? Was it parliamentary style? How many people in the style?
Three.
3, okay. So that's what we're doing for the debate competition on Sunday. Because of our numbers at my branch, we do the 2-on-2, which is like the college style in America, where basically there's a division in how the points are presented. Okay. I don't like that style. How do you feel about it?
I like it better when each student has like the focus. The guy in the middle is going to say the focus.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. But basically, you want kids to talk. You want them to say whatever their arguments are. You'll see again in the guides of the different styles, it has different ways of doing it. This is just what I think is the easiest for this class. But when you look at the material, feel free to like adjust it for how you want them to present. I personally like the Prime Minister to present the entire case. Argue the entire case right there, 4 points. And then have the leader of opposition counter, argue their entire case, then let a clash happen with the other debaters. So if you're doing 2-on-2, or excuse me, 3-on-3, the next speaker is the Deputy Prime Minister. And really their job is to refute what the leader of the opposition said. So the leader of the opposition is refuting what the Prime Minister said. So that's where the clash of the debate happens. Right? The clash should be, this is why our side is right, and this is why their side is wrong. Like clear arguments. Don't get into like fallacies with them. Like now, like if some of the kids, they might have had some debate training before. You don't want this to get into like, oh, they were going ad hom on the Prime Minister, so their arguments are garbage. Like I try to stay away from the fallacies. Like let them just argue the points. If they take a master's class, then they can worry about fallacies. Like, they don't mind about it.
So we don't get into fallacies at all?
I mean, there are certain parts that talk about fallacies, but I feel like it makes them a little bit more apprehensive when they speak. You can correct them.
So the debate skill is more about rules, not specifically about fallacies at all?
Yeah, style and substance. Like, I mean, that's the way that I do it.
Yeah.
Style and substance. So style is, with the engaging speakers, with using positive body language, they're using rhetorical devices, right? Substance is going to be like how you take notes, and if basically all these points are debated, right? And I'll spend the judging after I'm done with the structure. So again, the clash should be here, leader of opposition clashing with the Prime Minister's points, and then here the Deputy Prime Minister rebuilding the government case, and then refuting the opposition's case. The next speaker, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, their job is to, again, to refute the points presented by the Deputy Prime Minister, and then rebuild the opposition's case. Okay? last speaker of the round in a 3-on-3 debate is called a whip. So the government whip's job is to summarize Gov's case and actually be persuasive about what Gov should win the case. And if there's any new things that the deputy leader of the opposition brings up, the government whip should refute those points. But their job is to close. They're like the salesperson that's closing. Oh, another good movie to use, you just have to really preview the language. It's a movie called Glengarry Glen Ross. It's with Al Pacino, Alec Baldwin, and it's a very good movie about sales. Glengarry Glen Ross. Anybody seen that?
Yeah, that's the language.
Yeah.
And say,
ABC.
In second place, it says snake eyes, third place is you're fired.
Yeah.
So it's not 2-on-2, it's 3-on-3.
It can't be, it depends on your numbers. If you do 2-on-2, the Gov whip's position is just the prime minister.
Oh, he speaks again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the easiest way to go. And with these speeches here, they can't present new points of analysis, they can't present new examples, but no new points of analysis. So that's the structure. Yes?
I don't know if this is like a bad thing, but you were talking about if you have like a really small class. I taught 200 before, and I had like 5 kids, and during exams, they went to different schools, so it was all messed up. And I don't recommend this, it was really good for the kids, but obviously you want to do it the one way, but like I pick kids' name out of a hat for each role, so they had to prepare for every single role. And then like after the prep time in between each part, pick the name out of the cup, and it got really, really interesting. It was good, it helped them a lot. But I mean, that's just an idea. If you had like 3 kids or something like that. It's like, it was really cool when they had to like counter their own arguments and stuff. And it was awesome.
No, that's good. That's really, did everybody hear that? Yeah, that's a really good tip. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going to steal, especially for like if the kid, you want the kids to do different roles, right? Each class. That's a great way to pick roles, and they have to prepare for everything and have them randomly pick roles. It's really good. The kids told me about the website random.org, so sometimes we'll go on and use that. It's like it's really confusing. That's actually a better way to do it. Thanks. When I started teaching, my first day, they told I was teaching in New York. My mentor told me there's something you should know about teaching. I'm like, what? It's like a motto we have. So what is it? Beg, borrow, steal. Borrow, steal. They're like, yeah, you'll figure it out. All right. So I'm stealing that. But that's definitely, it's a really good idea. Okay, so just some like nuts and bolts stuff. Sometimes, in between speeches, like the kids have time built in to the debate. I don't like doing that with the kids, especially the upper level kids, because I think it just gives them an unrealistic time to put their arguments together, but it does make the debates a little bit better. So what I would say is, and again, it depends on what your philosophy is as a teacher. You have the freedom to choose if you want to give them time between speeches or not. Maybe start out with the kids in the first like 2 weeks and give them time between each speech to like prepare their arguments. But then like towards the end, let them have some time to like kind of prepare their arguments on the fly. I think that, especially for the outside, keeps them on their toes, and that's critical thinking. That's true critical thinking. When someone's up presenting their arguments, and you have to like listen to what they're saying, take notes, and then get up and speak about what you just heard, right? I think that's really, really good for the students. So think about that, about reducing the time between speeches, okay? I don't want to bore you with parliamentary rules of debate. You should review all that material before you teach it, but to create clash within the debate itself, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this, there are things called points of information, which are basically questions that the other side is allowed to ask when someone's actually speaking. Patrick, can you pretend I'm giving like a constructive speech for Gov? Can you model what the point of information should look like? So I'm speaking about something, and I'm talking right now about how wonderful Derek Jeter is, and how I'm glad he had 3,000 hits last week. He went 5 for 5 and hit the home run, right? I'm really excited. On that point, sir.
I think you made an add-on attack on
Okay, there's no thank you, sir. Have a seat. Right? So, and just like this, give me a picture of this spot. So basically, when the speaker is speaking, on whatever point they're talking about, one of the members of the debate on the other side can get up and ask them a question. So the British style is to get up, put your hand behind your head, and your arm out like this. I think it means I'm not going to reach for my sword, and I don't have my dagger. I think that's why the British do it. Because in Parliament, they're worried about people dueling and playing swords out and having a dagger. So it's no dagger, no sword. Or no pen, no sword. But that's how the students should do it. I look like a complete idiot right now. I know. The kids are going to feel really awkward doing it, but it's like part of the style, right? So, like, try to teach them that. And again, it's in the program guide. But the points of information, they make the debate clash happen immediately, right? So what you want to do is encourage them to do it. I have problems with my 200 level kids, having them get up and actually do it. But that's like an important part of having a clash with the debate. Again, the first few classes, they might not be as excited about it. They might be a little apprehensive. But it does make the debate fun. It's an important part of the actual debate. When it comes to your question about judging, again, in the material, there is like a judging rubric, right, where you judge them on how well they speak. So again, it's basically like divided into 4 different categories, and then style and substance, like divided out in different ways. They're scored in this level, or at least for what Cheongdam's doing, on a scale of 1 to 16. Usually the parliamentary style is judged from 1 to 30. Usually the worst speaker of the round gets like a 22, and the best speaker, if they're really, really good, gets like a 28 to 29. But you have the freedom to choose how you want to judge the debates. Again, like I said in the beginning, I just give feedback. I don't necessarily pick a winner or a loser, but that's totally what she does. I think to sum up, this class is going to flow based on how well you prepare. I know you guys are veteran teachers, so preparation you guys are pretty good at by this point. How well you prepare the material will depend what will actually make the debates go well or not go well. Also, like if you feel like the resolutions are not going to create a good debate, you have the freedom to adjust the resolutions as you see fit. If you think that the resolutions are not fair for one side or the other side, you can change it. I remember when I was doing the debate workshop a few terms ago, one of the topics was about North Korea, and one of the subject was Kim Dae-jung. So we talked about Kim Dae-jung, how much of a wonderful president he was, and like what he did for Korea. And then the debate topic was just the resolution was a little bit off. So I basically said to them, okay, let's talk about what we want to like debate. Like, what do you want to debate about Kim Dae-jung? I mean, debating. I think the actual resolution was about the sunshine policy. So we ended up talking about the sunshine policy now. Like, do we still honor it now? And we just adjusted it a little bit. There was another one where it was a really strange topic. So I basically said to them, okay, it's 1960. You're the president of Korea. You have a assassin squad that has Kim Jong-il in the crosshairs. And you say yes to kill him or no? And one side had to argue no, one side had to argue yes. But it was time space, like 1963 or something. What do you do? So just like, be flexible with it. Like, have fun with some of the topics. Again, the material can get a little dry, so you want the kids to like stay invested in it. So as the instructor, your preparation, you can definitely make it more interesting. The one thing about this class, I can find a way to complain about everything in some way, shape, or form. The one thing I did not complain about with this class was the material. There's too much material, over material. So you can pick and choose what you want them to prepare for. You can pick and choose which garbage you want them to use. There's like an abundance of it, right? And also, most of your rooms should be equipped because there is a video component with some sort of AV. Like again, the more interesting video clips you bring in, just the more engaging you can make the class. You don't have to, but it definitely helps out. I really I'm so glad Mad Men is on YouTube because I can show Andre Bird and the carousel. Like, I can show these like great speeches, and especially the one where he's with the Nojo Lee, the makeup guys.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's actually mean to them about being persuasive. Sometimes you gotta be mean. Kids were like, wait, there is Klein? I'm like, yes. Why is he being so mean? I'm like, he's seducing them. It's a seduction. They're like, and some of the kids actually did it. And they actually did it like 2 classes later. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but they will soak it up. All right, so that goes through the class structure and then the roles as well. Just open the floor for questions before we take a quick break before we begin. Anybody? Questions? Anything? Yes.
I wonder if the style, since I've never taught this before, of just watching clips on YouTube, some other debates with how fast they talk and the speed I've seen in some debates. And then when it goes into style, is that what we're aiming for, speed talking? And then how did the other students then respond to quick English?
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Like we were talking about that for the debate competition on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like points of clarification. Like I just didn't understand what you said. I tell them to speak slower. Speak slower, and style is more about body language, like just being instead of like how how they do CTV sometimes we're doing it. Right? You want them to like they can have notes, but you want them to use like body language, right? You want them to vary their tone a little bit, and using rhetorical techniques as well, repetition. Just being an engaging speaker. That's how I do the style. I think style's a tough one with kids who are really shy. Some other things that work to get kids out of the box, and you can like just Google this, like some improv acting techniques. Right? Just having a kid get in front of a room and be like, all right, I want you guys to say one word, and whatever word has to be an object, the person in the front of the room has to act it out. I did that as an icebreaker. I let them start with me. So I'm like, all right, pick any word, and I will act out the word. I forget what they picked, but I made a complete fool of myself. Right? They got into it, they got, teacher's an idiot, blah, 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 laughing. And then each of the kids had to get up and do it. Right? Because part of their anxiety when they're presenting is actually being in front of people. Right? So the idea was to make the front of the class where they're debating, to make it a comfortable space. Right? To make it their space. So there's, like, I love using like improv acting techniques to get them to come out of their shell a little bit. And once they're confident in their preparation, then their style is coming out a little bit more. So there is a direct correlation between being prepared with substance and being comfortable with style. I think to focus on two things, one thing would be like their voices. They will speed through their points as well, but it's like an incoherent speed through, right? It's just like, blah, 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 and you're like, whoa, slow down. Whereas like in some of the debate societies that you see online, it's a stylistic point. It's like, you guys are listening to Malcolm Gladwell talk. It's like that, like smart, witty, I'm going to speak really fast and use a lot of connections to different things to try to overwhelm you type of speaking. We definitely want to try to do that.
Do you jump in and give feedback or correct them as they're doing the debate, or do you always wait until like afterwards? Or they're doing something that's really bad, will you jump in? Or?
No, I wait till the end. Because sometimes the kids will pull themselves together.
Well, like you can't hear a kid. Will you be like, I can't hear you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Don't be shy about that, especially the volume part. And also feel free to, like, we work the hand signal system where I was in the back of the room and they're talking too fast because our rooms are small, I'm big, I'm like,
Okay.
or I like, right? Just you're coaching them, right? So if there's a kid that is totally unresponsive and they get to be oppositional to a degree, then like maybe during the debate you can make an anonymous comment like, all right, guys, if we're gonna make this debate work, everybody has to participate, everybody has to be enthusiastic. That's fine. I tend to let it go to the end and give them like individualized feedback. That helps build relationships with them too. At our location, I didn't know any of my kids, so they were definitely. I go back to like day one of me and like, and they were up in the classroom. He's bald. He's black. They're like, so I had to like really put like my real estate salesman hat on and be like, guys, hey, so you might have to do that a little bit, but yeah, I think my biggest problem in the class was getting the kids, especially like when they started to drag into like August, they were dead tired, getting them to be like really excited and really participatory at 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's where my friend Don Draper was like instrumental in some of the TED Talks as well. I think the material that we use off of the FTP, it's good. I think sometimes it's too short. And it's out of context. Like Michelle Reed, like feel free to prepare and explain to the kids who she is outside of the articles. because they're going to need context about charter schools, they're going to need context about what a chancellor is, like they're going to need like a lot of information from you. So, any particular points that you guys saw during the debate that could be problems for students?
Like fallacies going to the extreme, where it makes it difficult for the person who's rebutting to give a rebuttal for it.
Okay. Okay.
I found that in the coaching for the competition, the students are very reasonable, and as a result, they have very sort of non-radical opinions, so they end up with no argument. So you have to kind of steer them in the direction of being more aggressive.
Sure. Absolutely.
Well, you'll give them a side like here. They'll say the parent-teacher attendance system should be abolished, and then you'll have both sides saying, well, it's not bad, but we just need to fix it.
Yeah.
And then there's no debate.
Really make them take a side. Anything else? Any other feedback you guys think?
I think just from like normal debate class, like I have some like, people who are new, and I just feel like the POIs are very, they're important in a debate, but students don't know quite how to use them or when to use them. So I feel like you have to kind of push them, and I feel like once, if you get interrupted one time, then you feel like when you sit down, you're ready to be like, I'm going to
Absolutely
go back at them. So I feel like you have to really encourage it, but once it happens, it makes the debates a lot more active and they're more engaged.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're talking about it in our group up here. If there's an extra student, one of the students' jobs can be just to like get POIs from both sides. Some teachers at our location, and again, this depends on your class, they actually would start up and give POIs. They themselves to get the kids to want to participate in it and also model what a good POI should be. Feel free to do that as well. I just got lucky because my kids were already kind of prepared at the 100 level to do it, so I didn't have to push them into giving POIs. The biggest thing with those parts of the debate is you want to be able to curb students, because sometimes students will try to sneak in. But point of clarification, what I meant to say was, one of those happens all the time, right? So as a judge, you can say, okay, you're out of order, have a seat, or empower the students to be, as speakers, to be like, all right, thank you, yeah, and that's a style point as well, but yeah, it's just something to consider. Okay. Anything else?
I was just wondering, in class, do we make up the debate question, or is it on the FTP?
It's on the FTP. It comes in the packet. But again, you have the video preparation.
As you said before, yeah, if it's like a little dodgy.
Yeah, if it's not a debatable, if you think it's not a fair and debatable resolution, feel free to change it. It's more than fair. You can tie it more into the person who they're researching. That always helps. So you don't have to completely think outside of whatever's being talked about. And there's always fun ones you can do with them. This team resolves that Batman is better than Superman. Batman's way cooler than Superman or something. So they can go up to find what way cooler is, go up to find Batman, and then let them have a discussion about it. I think it's just things like that that are a little bit lighter, but they're still thinking. And you think Batman and Superman, that's a pretty easy one. It's not. That's a fair debate, and if kids are involved in it, if they know about comic books, or if they don't know about comic books, based on just the general arguments, it can be a very good one. It sounds strange. Another one that our grants that kids do, there's a teacher who hated peanut butter. So they debated that his teacher should like peanut butter. This is why. It was a guy who taught the 100 level class, and it ended up being a really, really good debate. It wasn't stuck in policy, it was just 100% philosophical. Chunky versus creamy as options. And I was sitting there watching, I was like, it was pretty good. And the way the kids thought their toes was amazing. Right? So don't be handcuffed to the resolutions. And you do want to make it fun. 10 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes